and your inheritance the right to be a
Gab.
queen of an entire aquatic kingdom. I want dick.
I actually think we had this conversation when that news came out.
I think we did, yeah.
That when they find out that Little Mermaid was going to be the
I was like,
girl.
yeah, don't if you like. It's like whenever they keep announcing these new live action versions, because the women's rights movement has catapulted so far. You realize that all these stories actually have not aged well.
Right.
So you have to be like, oh, mermaid. You might want to make some shifts in the narrative. Like Aladdin had to do a giant sharp left turn with Jasmine.
I mean, what? There's got to be. I know there's one of these Disney movies that like gay folk like.
Yeah, Disney movies is what gay folk.
Overall,
I think that's.
Overall,
do you want to like? That's the frustration I think with a lot of gay people.
Like
give us
ones.
Like Disney, the Disney park has a pride or like a gay day.
Okay. Right.
Like where for like they put pride flags everywhere and it's like gay families can come on for the Disney park. And what gay person doesn't love a good fucking Disney princess?
I mean, that's true. Peter Pan looks kind of gay.
Peter Pan is sus. He doesn't want to grow up. He doesn't want to like touch girls. Like, you know what I mean? Like there's a lot of Tinkerbell is a gay icon.
Oh yeah,
right.
yeah.
Right.
Yep, you're right. I think we'll
Hercules, I'm sure, sparked some things.
Okay, Peter Pan it is. Welcome to the show.
Here goes.
17 Waverly Podcast. Waverly Podcast.
Oh.
Here we are, ladies and gentlemen. This is episode I don't know what.
I want to say
you.
you didn't post anything last week.
We did not post anything last week.
So this is
episode 63.
It would have been 64. It's 63.
63.
Right, so 63.
I feel like we've been in the 61, 62 for like a month.
Yeah.
Feels that way.
This is our
Gaypisode.
Gay episode. That was my drum roll because I do not have a soundboard.
Oh, that sounds accurate.
And that's because I'm too lazy to do it. And I don't trust the computer that I did fix, that you did have everything on it, but that's besides the point. We are here. We are live. This is Ram, Gab, and Angelo. Hello, boys.
Hey.
Good afternoon.
Okay, so as we said before, this is the gay episode. I think this is our second gay episode.
This is our second Gaypisode.
Right.
This is Gaypisode
We did a
2.
Gaypisode last year.
Yes.
This is Gaypisode Part
Yes.
Duh.
We are in Pride Month. It is June. We are right in smack dab in the middle of it.
So
what better week for us to get this going than this week?
Gay.
We tried to do what we've been doing the past few months, which is just kind of find some old stuff because there obviously isn't anything new coming out that's in abundance. So we're mixing in some new, some old, mostly old. And this time I think we have a good amount of stuff. Let's start with the freshest thing, which is the Pixar short that we just watched.
Okay.
Yeah.
Since we're on the topic of Disney,
That's the most up-to-date thing we've watched, too.
That's
correct.
right.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I have some 2 cents, but you know what? I'm going to let you guys be kind to the
we just
gay
watched
people.
the Pixar released a one of their little Disney shorts, one of the Pixar shorts, which is what they do. I don't know if you've ever been to a Pixar movie in theaters. Typically, before the movie starts, Pixar will drop a little like 9-10 minute video short film that's not pertaining to a particular subject that has to do with the movie that's about to come out. That you're
their
about
own
to see.
little thing.
They're just their own little thing. And from what I've read and what I've watched in a lot of Pixar documentaries is that these digital shorts usually are either to prepare us for a movie that's coming later that either has to do with that subject or uses the technology that they're using in that short for a future movie.
Okay, so it kind of gives you
So like
some
a lot
example,
right. So like for example, there was a digital short that had for I don't know what movie it came out with, but it was a little bird and he was on the sand and there was like water and
that thing was awesome.
Right,
Yeah.
and that was to kind of give us an idea of how the technology for creating water with the computer stuff was coming out for Moana, which was eventually going to come out, and things like that.
Did not know that connection. Thank you for that.
It's just that's how they connect them. I don't know if that's exactly to a T, but that's what I saw in some documentary that I watched on Pixar.
Okay, I mean the animation to this out.
So the animation it's the short that we're talking about. It's called Out, and it was made some headlines because it's about a gay couple, and this is not something that. A subject that Disney or Pixar has really touched at all.
Right, rarely touched.
So they dropped it on Disney Plus. We all watched it. I thought it was great. If you're thinking about this, I mean, I'm watching this with the mindset of like, oh, this is for kids. So like, I want just to see how I think it would teach kids and what it would teach kids and I think that it was good. I mean, I didn't find it. I mean, I'm not gay, so I don't know like what's good and what's bad. But in the sense of like somebody who's learning from this as a kid, I think they would learn. They could learn that. They would learn that it isn't really a whole big different thing. It's just it's a guy that, and he obviously doesn't want to teach or doesn't want to tell his parents that he's gay, but his parents, they love him regardless. As they should for all of us. They should love us regardless. And eventually it comes out, okay, they do once they find out. So I think in the short term it kind of shows kids that, but I'll turn to you, Fico, if there's anything else.
I was gonna say you pretty much hit it there. I think there's that one scene near the end after like he switches places with the dog again.
Yeah,
that's probably something we should tell him that this guy and their dog and his dog switch places.
Yes,
magically.
So it's like a Freaky Friday type scenario, like I mentioned earlier. The guy switches with his dog, and then the dog, as he's a dog, he's trying to prevent his human body with the dog mind from showing the parents a picture of him and his boyfriend together.
Right. And then after like his mom like kind of like has like a moment with the dog where she tells the dog that no matter what, like we love you and this and that.
But she's just kind of thinking out loud and like talking out loud because she obviously doesn't know that he's in the dog.
So after they switch places and she asks him like, "Hey, what's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
And he goes, nothing.
Yeah.
I think that's a great lesson for kids right there. Like you might be into whatever you're into, but it doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. That's I think the best thing to convey.
Right.
I think they did a good job at laying out a conversation or an experience that pertains to every gay person, not just gay men, but like gay women too. It's when you tell your parents or you tell your family, the people that are closest to you, that's a universal experience. So I understand them wanting to touch on that, especially as they're trying to adapt this to the family-friendly Disney platform of Disney Plus, as opposed to Hulu, where they can put more risque stuff. I think I look at it. It sparks to me the question. I think more about like the business side of it and the opportunity side for the future, because it is a short, so that's great, and it's on that they put it on the actual Disney streaming platform. I think is a big I see you
right, because it's not like a kid's gonna be going through it and looking for something to watch, and it's not like it's gonna be like hidden, it's
or
there,
blocked.
You know what I mean?
It's right there. It's called, I think, but there's also a safety in it as well, right? It's a short,
right? Correct.
And you're putting it on your streaming platform. It's not something that you're putting behind a movie. Sorry, my phone. It's not something that you're putting behind a movie that's like we saw that seagull thing that we saw before.
Now, in Disney's defense, and not really defense because we're not really saying this is a negative thing, but it's very well possible that they could have put that short in front of a movie that was coming out at some point, but they didn't get the opportunity to. It's like, why not do this now?
And it's like, to me, it's like a neither here nor there thing because like we'll never know what the plan was there. But it is just a fortunate convenience thing that it didn't have to be put in because what happens when you take kids to go see movies in theaters and they do put these shorts out, or even if anyone going to see these movies where you don't know what the short is before they're always a surprise. Right. So I'm thinking about the context of you're taking, those parents that are like, I don't want to explain gay to my kids.
Yeah.
And then they go to a movie expecting to see talking squirrels. Right. And then it's like, wait, what's all this gay shit?
Right.
So I think that there's a safety, convenient way that we could put this on Disney Plus. It is very openly gay, but we are also avoiding some landmines as we do it. This is also going to provide feedback, right? Because we know that these streaming platforms have access to data of what people are streaming, what they're responding to.
Of course.
So I don't doubt that this is a little bit of a testing the waters of how do we, could we, should we bring in more of a concept of spotlight lead gay characters into their media.
Right. I mean, I still think that they probably won't at this point, but I don't know. Is there any new movies that are coming out for Disney or Pixar anytime soon? Because I know Onward was the only one, right?
Onward was the only one, but technically Marvel is a sub-branch of Disney.
Disney, right?
I have a feeling that this would have been in front of Onward in theaters.
Maybe it would have been in front of Onward. Because I wish I could find that. I would like to find that information.
with release dates. Like Onward just came out, and this Pixar short just came out.
Yeah.
So it just makes sense that they would be together. But I mean, who knows? Whatever.
The next Disney thing, though, I don't know about Disney animated, but because Marvel is a sub-branch of Disney, The Eternals is a Marvel movie that's supposed to come out at the end of this year, and that does feature a same-sex couple, and it's supposed to feature a same-sex kiss. But here's my thing. I think I've said it on this podcast before. I had thought, and you guys probably don't know anything about The Eternals, even a lot of comic book readers don't, but the character that I thought was supposed to be the gay character for that was the actor who played Robb Stark. Okay. And his role is a character named Icarus. He's kind of like a Superman kind of character.
He's the guy that played... He's the same actor that played Elton John's prick boyfriend in Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Got it.
And he was also the charming prince in Cinderella. So he's had... Yeah. So you've seen him.
He's seen him a bunch.
I thought that was who they were going to do. So I was like, okay, no. They revealed that it's this secondary, tertiary character. God bless him. I'm glad he's in it. But that's who they're going with, the gay character. And the problem for that is it's the international market element. They say that they're doing the inclusion thing, but they do it so enough that when they do release it internationally, they can just snip out the pieces that could cause that conflict in a different market, China.
Right.
So if it was an actual main character, leading character in the film, it becomes much more difficult to pick shit out. Like a side character, you can... Like, remember when Beauty and the Beast came out? Like, LeFou's gay, guys. Yeah. And you got
you could literally you could literally take out all the scenes with LeFou, and the movie's still the same.
And it was the same. And his little gay moment was he was dancing with a dude for 0.2 seconds at the end.
Right.
You just
clip that out.
Out, and then you don't even know that it's in there.
Yeah, so it's super weak.
It's super weak. I think it's no balls. It's cowardly. You're not really doing representation. You're trying to have your cake and eat it too.
Right.
Representation is put us in the fucking movie.
Put them in the movie. That's it.
Just make them.
So I appreciate that it's unapologetic, and he even had like a semi-nude calendar
The fireman calendar.
The fireman
yeah.
calendar.
That shit was hilarious.
That was hilarious.
So even kind of like joking to the whole like the scruffy gay scene with the mustache.
Yeah.
They put the gay club music in when they're switching.
Hilarious. Too.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that music.
I liked it a lot.
You want to download it. You're like, shit, wait, what's that?
It's like, oof.
What is that?
That beat's hitting.
But so I appreciate that. I'm curious to see, is it enough to spark further stuff? And Disney Plus also gets them out of jail with the pressures of movie theaters, because you can create Disney Plus originals, and if you don't want to see it internationally, just don't fucking pay to go.
Right.
Don't hit play.
Just don't put up there. Right.
And I think with what Marvel has planned, especially for future characters that are very unapologetically gay and that they want to include them in future projects.
Right.
I think we're going that way. It's just about, can we hurry it the fuck up?
Can we just make this work now?
Yeah.
Right.
But it was cute. It was a very cute thing, and I think it's a great stepping stone for parents with little kids who are just starting to get introduced to these conversations, and they can talk about it, because you can talk about, I could see a kid asking, oh, but why was he scared? Or why was his mom sad? Or why? There's a lot of things you can.
There's a lot of depth.
There's a lot of depth there. You can talk about the parents' perspective. You can talk about the kid's perspective.
Right.
And all that silly. And they did it in a really fun, silly way. So.
Yeah, I liked it a lot.
I agree.
It was if that was going to be their first step into it, at least they didn't, step into it like super lightly. I mean, that was a full.
Yeah,
that was a
right
full gay.
There was gay kiss. There were gay pictures.
Yeah.
There was gay scruff.
So at the very least, I know that it's a short, not a full length film, but at the very least, it's a bigger step than to just make a short and then also have a gay character in a short that's a side that's like not the main character.
Right. Like they didn't tiptoe around it.
Yeah, it was a full on like okay. So that was good. What else did we watch? Oh, I guess what we'll do is we'll do. I want to talk about a movie that you guys didn't see first.
Okay.
It's about so it's called Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
On Fire. I watched it earlier today. Actually.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
I'm really happy I did too.
Yeah. It's it's a French movie. So if you don't like subtitles, obviously whatever. But it's awesome. It's I think it got like a 90 like fucking 8 on Rotten Tomatoes or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Basically what it is, it's like a period piece. It's in the 1700s.
17th century.
And it's this woman. She hires an artist, this girl artist, to come paint the wedding portrait of her daughter, who just left the convent and is being married to some family of a rich family.
Some guy in Milan.
Yeah. Obviously, at the time, like these arranged marriages is normal. Like it's like, all right, we do this for political reasons, for money reasons, whatever.
Yep.
Right.
So the daughter comes home. The daughter comes back. And the whole thing is like the mom is explaining to this artist that the previous artist that was hired couldn't get her to sit still for the portrait. She was
right. She didn't want to pose.
She didn't want to pose for it. She just didn't care for it. She doesn't want to get married. Like she doesn't really want any of it. So the girl that's the artist comes in and she's like, okay, fine. We'll see what we can do. She proposes that instead of having her sit down, she's so good at painting that she doesn't need her to sit down. She can just be with her throughout the day and look at her.
Photographic memory kind of.
And then off of memory, paint her like on her own.
Okay.
So the whole thing is obviously that happens. Like you can kind of already see, but when they're hanging out, that there's a little bit of the like connection there.
Right. There's a little bit of chemistry.
Yeah.
Sure.
And like even there's even like a specific scene where the artist girl is teaching her about opera and she like shows her the specific song, all this stuff, because this girl she's very sheltered. She hasn't seen much. She hasn't really experienced much of anything. So
Great
that's
trope.
again like Again, yeah, like this. Obviously, so if this girl was gay, she wouldn't even know she was really gay until she
doesn't know what the word is or what the kind.
Like so whatever.
She didn't know. Yeah, she knew nothing. She knew
all she knew was that she was getting married. Yeah,
or anything. She was very just like
right. She didn't know much of anything.
You said.
So obviously the story continues. Eventually they become very close, and they definitely have this like connection. So much so that. They eventually, I think the mom, or the girl paints a painting of her, and then the mom is okay with it. The girl who she painted looks at it and hates it but I think it's because she knew that by the painting being completed, her task would be done, so she would have to leave.
Oh, okay.
So she faked,
you have to start over.
Yeah, so she faked that she didn't like it. Obviously, the girl that's the artist is like,
clever girl.
Yeah, let me redo it. That pissed the mom off, but you know it is what it is. The mom then goes on a trip for like a week, and that's when like finally they're together alone.
Alone, yeah.
So then obviously, of course, they do their thing, get it in, whatever it is what it is. There's the scissoring scenario and all that. And it's all great. They basically I don't want to say fall in love, but that's what that's what you assume here. And then the girl eventually actually sits down for her. She sounds for her to get painted. It's this whole big thing. She finishes it. It's great, beautiful, wonderful. It ends very emotionally because she finishes the painting and the girl obviously doesn't want her to leave. She doesn't want to leave, but there's nothing they can do. She has to leave.
Right.
So there's no excuses. There's no excuse.
Right.
They really can't even get like an intimate like goodbye or anything.
Yeah. They don't even get that intimate goodbye. It's just like the mom shows up, the painting is done. You got to go. You're out, and they can't like act like, oh my god, I'm so sorry to have to leave you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna miss you.
You have to keep it casual.
Keep it casual. Keep it normal. Right. Mm-hmm. So that happens, and like you have that final hug of theirs, right in front of the mom. But like they're both like, it's like mad deep.
Overwhelming. Yeah, absolutely. Because the way she hugs her and does like this like deep like exhale.
Yeah,
and
just,
like bolts, basically.
Right. So then obviously she leaves, and then it's over, whatever. And then, of course, at the very end, there's that last scene where it's like super powerful, where I'm assuming this is a long time later. This is like a year or two later.
It's several years later. Because, I think they mentioned
the artist goes to.
Oh, not a time jump.
The artist. Mm-hmm. This is just a final scene. It's not like a. So the artist goes to this gallery, which I'm assuming is where she's showing off her some paintings of hers. And there's a whole bunch of people there. It's a whole bunch of like rich people. She's there. The wall is covered in incredible paintings.
Right.
So she sees a painting of the girl.
Right.
But with a kid next to her.
Mm.
So so then you see her and like she's obviously her reaction like I haven't seen her, and at the time there's no photographs. So it's just like I haven't seen this woman that I fell in love with since however long ago.
Right. And the only like memento each of them have of each other
is a painting,
like little
paintings. Drawing. Yes.
So it's cool that like in the woman who got married and had a kid, she had like a book, and the artist like painted like a nude photo of herself in the book.
Yeah.
On page 28.
Oh yeah, that's page 28.
In like the portrait that she's looking at her in this gallery,
she's holding a book, and the book is she's got her finger in the book, and
it's like showing.
It specifically has the page 28 in the book, like kind of like. That was her secret way of telling her, I still like think about you. I still remember you. Yeah. And then right after that, then she goes, okay. So then they go into I'm assuming that little like art gallery was outside of an opera show. Like it was on like the entryway to go to an opera show, or maybe the opera show was different.
I thought it was two different occurrences. Things?
Okay, yeah,
that's what I thought.
So then after that scene, she sees the painting. She's like, "Oh my god, this is incredible!" She goes to this opera show, and the song that she showed her is playing in this opera, and she looks across the fucking thing, the balcony, and at the other end of the theater, the girl is sitting there and she's watching the same opera as her. They obviously aren't together, and they don't see each other, but you're watching her watch the other girl, and the girl is like visibly crying at the song.
She's going through this range of emotions with the song, which is
right. So awesome. I mean, it's a really, really good movie. If you're into that romancy shit.
It was,
you know what I mean?
It was a gothic romance.
It was just it was just a good gothic romance film, I guess.
In a way, it's it's not a it plays into the common gay story arc, because in a sense it is a gay tragedy. Because it's
where
like two people who can't be together.
Right.
That's a very common gay story arc. It's the gay tragedy, or it's the gay comedic relief. But I mean, that's heavy. That's a good. I think that's still people. Even though it's set in what time is it? Like what hundreds is that? Do you know how long ago when the time setting is for that movie?
1770s.
So a good fucking minute ago.
Yeah. It was
like French Revolution-y type of
somewhere around that. Yeah.
Times okay.
Because this is in France, obviously, and
so
she's getting betrothed to a Italian guy.
Okay.
Whatever.
Italian type guy. Yeah.
And then the whole thing is like that she has to get married to the guy because the family is broke.
Yeah,
and she's
Rose
like, you literally have to marry this guy because we're fucking broke and we need this.
I mean, that's what marriage was for the longest time. It was
for sure.
You basically sold daughters so that you could, for financial stability. I think that's still a cultural thing in a lot of places in the world. I think that I didn't see it, but from your description of it, I appreciate that it's highlighting, especially with the hug goodbye, is that there's so many people in those situations, not just then, it's very much now, that all you have are kind of like stolen moments.
Right.
You don't really get the full experience of a relationship. It's just moments that you can kind of steal for yourselves, and sometimes that's about hiding in plain sight.
Right. I think that my big takeaway from this, and I take away from this every time that I see a love story about a gay couple, it's always that tragedy is so sad that
right.
And I understand why that's always used and that's continuously used for gay stories, because it's definitely like impactful to watch.
Oh yeah.
It's dramatic.
If you want to really hit someone like with some dramatic feels, you do something like this, because you watch an hour of this movie of these two people falling in love,
right? Like they're growing together. And stuff,
and then at the very end, it's so normal, like it's just okay. These two girls, but it's so obvious that they love each other. It's so obvious that they just want to be together. Right. It's so much so that it doesn't feel uncomfortable that it's because it's two guys or two girls. It's just like, all right, this is how it is. Like, they should be together. And then at the end, boom, they rip it away.
I think there's also another caveat to it, though, especially for the time period that it takes place in, is that I don't think I can't speak for fucking French culture or country, but in a lot of senses, gay because we keep thinking homosexual acts and homosexuality and all that stuff has existed since like the dawn of humanity.
Dawn of time.
But
of course.
The concept of gay as an identity is still a fairly new thing. And by that, I mean gay in the context of marriage, partnership, living together. You split the bills. Who the fuck takes out the trash? Splitting responsibilities, raising brats. Like all when our parents are fucking dying, what are we gonna do? The nursing home. The structural context of life together. That is a whole other bag of fucking shrieking cats.
Right.
When you have this specific thing, I'm assuming for the context of the film, like that's not just the lesbian thing is so out of left field. It's like there is no even path forward of how to constitute a life together because one pertains to a broke ass family.
Yeah.
And the other one's an artist. Like, what the hell are we even? We love each other, but how do you make that granular? How do you make that into a situation where we can actually stand on that?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Not even prosper, just stand on it.
Yeah.
There is a very
And at the time that wasn't. That's all life was about, is just trying to create a. I think to me, this is different, obviously, because back in that period of time, it was just like create a solid base for your family, create this living legacy for your family.
Yeah, the disease of happiness wasn't a thing.
It was right. It wasn't. It wasn't about do what you want to do to create your own happiness. It was like no, we have to do is make sure that our family is good. So you have to do this to make sure your family is good.
I see. It sounds like the lesbian Brokeback Mountain.
I guess I never saw Brokeback Mountain. So
you never saw Brokeback Mountain?
No, I did not.
Oh, that's next year's then, right there.
Well,
Yeah.
I literally didn't bring it up as a possibility to watch on this podcast because Ramel's was hounding me for weeks. Like, you're the gay person on the couch. Want to recommend some shit? And I specifically didn't
wasn't saying a goddamn thing.
And I didn't say Brokeback Mountain because I was like, well, everyone's seen Brokeback Mountain. Like, I'm not gonna say like who the fuck hasn't seen fucking Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal fucking in the mountain?
To be completely honest, had you mentioned Brokeback Mountain, I would have said I haven't seen it. I'll probably watch it.
God damn it!
But I completely forgot that Brokeback Mountain existed.
That was like the OG bringing gay film into the mainstream media.
I know, and I didn't even I was literally scouring the internet for gay movies, and I would see Brokeback Mountain. And it wasn't like my thought, I should watch. It wasn't registering. I should watch this
that was also the first gay story I ever read. It's like a 40-page short story.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's like a 40-page short story.
Yeah, I'll have to watch it.
Yeah,
We'll get that going.
It has Anne Hathaway. You have Heath Ledger, R.I.P. Jake Gyllenhaal.
We'll probably do it for maybe we'll do a Cowboys episode. Where we do
Wild
cowboy
West
movies,
episodes, bang.
We do cowboy movies, and then I'll just throw that in there.
Well,
so we don't have to wait till next year.
Yeah, but right. It also doesn't have to be Pride Month to have a gay episode. Just saying.
Yeah, exactly.
That's also true.
Yeah, we don't want to be the.
You're trying to Black History Month me with it. You're trying to fucking. We only care about black people when it's February. Come on.
Yeah, we don't want to be that corporate. We don't want that corporate
That's
mentality.
right. We're not about that. We're not.
I swear to God, when I see businesses or schools with pride flags and they're not doing the actual work, I want to rip them down.
Yeah.
But Brokeback Mountain essentially has a kind of a similar concept where it's two men who work a summer on a mountain herding sheep. I guess that's what they did. And they boned and they fell in love for the summer.
Right.
But they go back to their lives and it's they both get married and have kids.
Right.
And then what their lives end up becoming is just once every 2 or 3 years, they go on a quote unquote fishing trip.
Yeah.
So they can have a romantic weekend in the mountains
together.
But that's the
cute.
extent. Well, it's the furthest they can go because what quality life or what can they do in the actual world together? There's no space for that. At least back then there wasn't. And in their culture there wasn't.
Correct.
So all they could do was, yes, they could try it, but
their romance is hindered by the culture.
Yeah.
So they can't.
And the culture, we should be more specific and be very deliberate of what we're saying here, specific with their context, is machismo, masculine culture.
Yeah, sure.
Because you can't be gay and keep your masculinity in a lot of contexts.
Right.
Those people like to treat those things as mutually exclusive. So that's that. But that sounds like a great movie. I'll probably give that a watch sometime.
Yes.
All right, definitely.
Watch that.
I want to add one thing to this movie that we're talking about. Besides it being a really powerful storyline and stuff, the way that the director, I'm gonna probably butcher her name, Celine Sciamma, shot this movie.
Yeah. Awesome.
It was crazy because there's pieces of this movie. There's a lot of pieces of movies where there's just dead silence.
Yeah.
And they're going about doing their things,
Yep.
and it's still it was as close to the way I could put it was poetry in motion.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
it was just so beautifully done. The scenes where she's actually painting and the way she sketches out and puts.
I love that shit. Of
was
course,
amazing.
For me, like Stacy was the one who brought who showed me the movie, and she only put it on not because of like the gay stuff, because we had this gay episode coming up. It was like we were watching it, and she was like, "Hey, this looks like it's a movie about an artist, and you paint, so you should watch it." I'm like, "All right." So we put it on, and like I watched it, and it was fucking awesome. Like
just
watching her paint it, like watching her paint
great.
shit. It was great. Like it was just an overall really fucking good movie.
Yeah.
Like. I love it.
Again, this is a movie that I probably would not have watched until you said that you were watching it. So I'm like, let me throw it on. I'm glad I did. And I'm glad that that's happening more and more, because I'm opening myself up to all these new genres and all these new directors and forms of art. It's amazing.
That's why I like what we're doing here, where we're trying to kind of keep these episodes themed, because it does kind of force you to look for specific kinds of movies in specific, like you said, styles and genres.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not against it. This is actually a really great exercise.
Yeah, and even this, and this will kind of segue us into this next topic. Like I was telling Gab, what is a good like old gay movie to watch? Like, and I mean old, like classic Hollywood.
Yeah, but I'm like,
and then
I didn't think there were any.
And then of course, like there aren't any in like the golden era of Hollywood, which is the 1950s, 40s. Because that wasn't
like the Rock
what was
Hudson
done
era,
what was done back then. But then, so then I'm doing more research, and like there's movies that were out that had a whole ton of gay actors, but that's not what we're looking for.
But not
here.
gay as a subject,
Right? We're looking for movies that the subject itself is gay and the protagonist is a gay character. That's the whole point.
right? Yeah.
So I'm
That was
looking
Slim
at
Pickens in my book,
right, and I'm looking through, and like there's some movies here and there, and I even like when I mentioned to you guys Dog Day Afternoon, I read a bunch of different articles that mentioned that as a movie that's as an LGBT movie, but only because the main character, even though the whole movie is a heist movie, pretty much he sticks up a bank, but he's doing it for his trans partner to have a surgery or something like that.
Okay.
So that's the whole like. So
I
I'm
guess
just,
technically that falls.
yeah, technicality, yeah.
Is the trans partner in the movie?
I believe so. Yes.
Okay.
So and that was from 1979. So then I'm like,
That's
there's got to be
really before.
Yeah,
its
there's
time.
got to be, and it was Al Pacino is the main character.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
we'll eventually watch that movie because I definitely want to see it.
Yeah, it sounds
It got like a
interesting.
95 on Rotten Tomatoes, so it's definitely like a good movie. So anyway,
Yeah,
so
that's a movie that definitely holds up over time for sure.
I'm doing more research, and I stumble upon what's the name of it, Gab?
The boys.
I
in
keep
the
thinking
band.
boy band.
I mean, kind of
The
same
boys in the
correlation.
band?
The
I keep thinking boy band.
but you're missing some words there
Yeah.
in that chapter. The boys in the band.
The boys in the band. So I stumbled
Wheel of
upon this
Fortune, I mean.
article. It's a Time article about this was a play.
1968. Yeah.
It was a play that was
mom was
off
born.
Broadway that did really, really well. And they turned it into a movie, and this was for a lot of people, they consider this the first real full-length feature film that portrayed an entire like cast of characters that were all gay, pretty much.
Really?
And this was in 1970, so this was like at a time where
50
none of
years
none
ago
of this
this
was
year.
happening. Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically it's a really like crude look into the life of a group of these gay friends that live in New York City, and at the time, again, this is 1970s in New York City, that was like super taboo, and like everybody's against it, and it was rough back then for them. So you go into watching this expecting I was expecting it to be this movie about these guys that
I was expecting it to be about a group of gay friends having a good time. Lies.
I wasn't even expecting that. I was expecting the movie to be about like hate crimes. Like
really?
a group of gay guys that get hate crimes happen to them because it's the 70s in New York.
Oh, I thought it was just like because it was a play, and I saw like pictures of the clip. Everyone was dressed so colorfully. I'm like, it's about gay people having a good time.
So then you start the movie, and it's like, it's basically this main character, Michael, right?
Michael is the main character. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's his apartment, and he's having friends over for a birthday of one of their other friends. So they all show up to Michael's apartment. They're on the rooftop. They're having a ball. They're fucking cracking jokes. They're making fun of each other. They're having a great old time for the first like fucking hour of it. It's hilarious. To me, it was hilarious. I was laughing my ass off because one of the characters is mad flamboyant. Another one is making fun of him. Another one is black, so they make fun of him for being black. They all like just they're digging at each other the entire time, but it's hilarious.
This was also just a side note. 'Cause I just wanted to check this to make sure I was right. The movie came out a year after the Stonewall riots, not even a full year after the Stonewall riots.
Okay.
So, and you know, the Stonewall riots was kind of like this very big chapter in putting the subject of homosexuality at like the forefront. So to have this movie come out, like it came out the following March, so like 10 months, 8, 9, 10 months after. Like that's also big, a very big thing. And it's honest. I have to say, the other thing about this film, Fico, you really should watch it. And just a side note before we dig deeper into it for people who are like, it's from the 1970s, I don't want to see it. They've remade it for Netflix.
Okay, because I was actually looking for it on Netflix last night, and it wasn't coming up.
Yeah,
so I was like,
it's not out yet, but it will.
Okay, that's why.
Yeah, it's not out yet, and the one that we saw, which is the original,
1970,
they have it on Vimeo for free.
Oh, awesome!
It's just like you just have to search for the movie in Vimeo, and then it's up there.
But it'll have I guess a modern adaptation. I don't know if they'll keep it period, like if they'll do it of the origin of the story,
make it look like in the 70s, or make
it'll
it
be
now
today.
with the same plot.
Yeah,
but now
that'd be interesting.
We don't know.
That's interesting to see how they would attack that.
But they did, and another interesting thing about this that I didn't know, and this was 2 years ago. I was walking through New York, and I was walking through some street on Broadway, near Broadway, and I saw that this play was out that was the same name,
The Boys in the Band.
The Boys in the Band, and it had fucking Jim Parsons, fucking Zachary Quinto.
Zachary Quinto. It has like a lot of these A-listers.
It had all these A-list gay actors.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck play is this? This looks like it could be fucking awesome because I know all these guys and they're all great actors. Turns out that was that play because it was the 50th anniversary of it.
Yeah, 50th
of the play.
Because right. This was 2 years ago. Yes. It was 50th anniversary of the play.
So it was the 50th anniversary of the play. So they brought the play back with all these new actors.
Matthew Bomer is in it.
Yeah, I don't know what he's in. Sounds familiar. The name sounds familiar. But.
He's really pretty. But yes, he's in it too. Yeah.
So that kind of brought back that I remembered that, and then I saw online, holy shit, this movie's about that. Awesome. So then definitely even more so, I'm gonna watch it. So the movie starts. Obviously, like I said before, it's a bunch of dudes. They're having a party. They're cracking jokes for the first hour, all making fun of each other for the first hour. It's just all of them making fun of each other for an hour. So I'm sitting there and I'm just like, I'm just laughing for the first hour.
It's about this surprise party they're having for one of their friends. His name is Harold. During this party, though, the main character, Michael, gets a phone call from an old friend from college who's crying and says he has something to tell him. Eventually, this friend named Alan shows up at the party where they're all hanging out. And from there, shit starts to go south.
Right.
And little by little, as they're all hanging out and ripping each other, they all kind of start hitting nerves here and there.
Yeah.
Until it builds up towards the end of the movie when everyone has to go inside.
But a big point earlier in the movie is that Michael mentions that he doesn't drink and doesn't want to drink anymore because of we don't really know.
He's also religious.
Really
He's also very religious.
He's very religious, but he says he doesn't really want to talk or do drink or do drugs. But you kind of see at the end
why
when he blows up. Why
blow up is even an understatement.
Yeah,
and blowing up is putting it kindly.
Yeah,
really.
Yes, so what happens is huge storm happens, like this huge rain thunderstorm that kind of ruins the whole party outside, aka foreshadowing.
Right.
and they all have to go inside, and Michael's clearly been drinking, and he decides, because he has this kind of like rage thing with the college friend Alan who's there, he says, we're all going to play a game. And he says that we're going to...
Well, before you continue that, the friend Alan is straight, right?
Okay.
Open to interpretation.
Yes, correct. Open to interpretation. And by the end, you still don't really even know.
It's because it's really
it's
meant for the audience.
It's meant for us to assume one way or the other.
Yeah.
But when he is describing this friend that's going to come over to his gay friends, he's like, listen, he's really straight. He's very straight and narrow. He doesn't like. I don't even want you guys to like act the way you normally do around him, because he's just very straight and narrow. He even doesn't want the guy that's really flamboyant. He doesn't even want him in the room.
Wow. Okay.
That's how like he's really got this specific thing with Alan, and they were roommates in college,
Right.
which led me to believe that I think that Michael was in love with Alan or liked Alan,
Yeah.
and he, I think, thought that Alan was gay at some point, and that is why the anger and the rage came to explode when that happened at the
I have a
house.
different assumption as to where it stems from. The other thing is, this is just a side I don't know if it's a criticism. It's just more of a comment. It's a movie I almost want to rewatch the first hour because as all the friends show up, it doesn't give you a lot of context into how they know each other or who is with who or what's the background. So you're really just kind of thrown into it, and you just have to kind of catch along as they're all hanging out.
Yeah, because there isn't like a build up to it's just like it starts and then they start showing up to
and
the
they
house.
start showing up and hanging out. And gay shit flies. So you have to be, and then there's a prostitute named Cowboy. So you got to be you got to be really kind of on your game of like, wait, who's who? There was times that I was pausing, looking up the name of the characters, and be like, so you're okay, got it.
Yeah.
So it's worth rewatching the first hour, but yes. There's this friction with Michael and Alan throughout the movie. It does build up to the end about the game, and the game, to me, the movie is about the game at the end. That is the movie.
Once the storm happens, they come inside because they obviously can't be on the patio. They come inside, and they're all drunk at this point. Like the party has been going on. It's nighttime. So then Michael says, "Hey, let's play a fucking game." And then I'll let Gab describe the game because
the Michael is toxic,
super toxic.
Right.
By this point in the movie, he's like a villain.
He's a villain, like straight up.
He's just being a fucking prick for no reason.
He's a salty bitch, and so he says we're gonna play a game, and it's going. So everyone here in the room will take a turn getting the phone, and everyone has to call the person that they truly loved. Like that they love for. And I was like, as a gay person, this is not going to go well. This is not what we need to be.
Super toxic.
Super, like, that is not what anyone needs to be doing for their mental health in this room right now.
Yeah.
That is not it.
I mean, right off the bat, the first guy
was too much.
Bernard, his name, right?
The black man, Bernard.
The black guy, he calls, he goes first, and he calls this person, I guess, that he was in love with at one point.
Not one point. He's still in love with him. He still remembers the phone number. He knows
so
the phone
much
number.
so that he still remembers the phone number.
He knows that the man that he's been in love with has been separated like 2 or 3 times and just recently separated.
Yeah.
So he's still, and he's talking about this man that he was in love with when they were like in 5th or 6th grade. So he still keeps. I hate saying, I don't think keep tabs in it because it's so nuanced. Like, this isn't like people will hear this and think, I think in the straight context, it's interpreted as like, oh my God, psycho.
Yeah.
But in this, for the gay experience, I'm like, that's not necessarily what it is. It's that when for all these characters, they all have their moment. When you have this thing to your identity that's so negative socially, and especially for it to be the time that it's happening, which is 1970 and like all the context of the era, you have to and these men are like in their early 30s, you kind of understand that even now that has a weight to it. So it's not only just a short source of shame, but it's just to feel what you feel for someone is just naturally something that's wrong. So I think to get over those feelings has a different, has different hurdles. So when Bernard calls the guy, and also Michael the prick ass is like literally standing over his shoulder, like counting points like a bitch.
Right.
And it's like he tells him, he calls the person who answers the guy's mom, and she tells him that he hangs up and says like that he's on a date. He's on a date with a woman right now. And then from that moment on, from there to the end of the movie, Bernard is just like sunken into a dark place.
Right.
And I appreciate it because if you're a gay, I think as a gay person, you probably can really understand where Bernard goes. And the director made a really smart choice that anytime the camera goes back to Bernard or
he's
Bernard
like
is in front, he's in a
dark,
legitimate dark lit area in the room
where like the light only shows like his like eyes and like his nose.
Oh, that's trippy.
So he's in the corner and there's no light. It really takes him into that place, and he'll randomly throughout the rest of the movie just say, "I shouldn't have called."
Right.
And he's
wow.
And it's Bernard was the one I was like, let's pause this, let's take a walk, because this is it's really heavy, and you have to. I think it's Ramel. You mentioned before how this movie. It's not apologetic. It's showing you really these experiences and what it's like.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was. I say the word crude, but not in a negative tone. I'm saying it in like it was raw. It was like they didn't really.
It was very.
They didn't
raw.
really beat around the bush with anything they were doing or saying.
No,
and in terms of what they were like talking about, or
and to the game, how each of these characters, like they're all gay, but they all represent a very different gay experience.
Right.
Bernard, of course, as a black man, there's that.
That's a whole big thing. Yeah.
Which the movie doesn't dive that much into because it's still 1970, and what are we talking about? Properly representing a black man's experience in film. Yep. But when he's talking about the man that he liked, he recounts their interaction when they were younger. Mm-hmm. So like they were drunk, they went swimming like naked, and then like there was some little whatever. And then the next day the guy said like, "Oh, I don't remember that." That comes up there, and then the film's really touching and dances with the line of this. What we are only just now starting to kind of get to grips with is the spectrum of sexuality, not the boxes. Mm-hmm. So, for me, if you're drunk and you fool around with another dude, that doesn't make, to me, just personally. And I know a straight person, a homophobe, could listen to this and probably think something like you just want straight guys to be gay.
Sure.
But for me, it's that I don't interpret that as that the person identifies or even is gay. You could have a curiosity, dabble, and then be like, you know what, I'm good. That's not really what, I didn't like that. Insecure touched on that in one of the earlier in like the first season. Uh-huh. The one of Molly's boyfriends. You dabble and don't like it.
Right.
That could have been the story with that Bernard's guy. That guy really didn't want anything to do with him. He really does like women.
But the problem is that he left that mark on Bernard.
Yeah. And there's also the added caveat of sometimes when it comes to homosexuality and the wanting the straight guy, which all these men clearly did at some point, it's not necessarily the specialty of that straight guy. Mm-hmm. It's the fact that it sometimes just is that man in society has untarnished masculinity. They are still allowed into that club.
Right.
And this is where, to segue, I was trying to find the words, I think I found them, where the friction between Michael and Alan comes into play. I believe Michael thinks that Alan truly is gay, but Alan's been able to have those feelings and get away with it. While Michael is in this bubble of this world that he doesn't even want to be in. He hates himself.
Right.
Michael hates being gay.
Because he's super Catholic, church guy, God.
I want to be and
cleanse myself of when he goes to church constantly.
Wow.
Yeah.
And even his insults where he calls everyone out of their name, and you think, it's in jest, like calling each other fag and stuff like that. But with Michael, there's always slightly like a little bit of
it's a little more,
when he bites.
It's a little more aggressive when he was saying the things.
Yeah, so it comes from a place of this person who doesn't accept themselves. So to see Alan, a man who's married to a woman,
right?
He thinks that the person's closeted gay. I think there's a jealousy and the vitriol of you get to blend in and be incognito in society and get away with it, but I don't get to. And that he holds something over him. That's the thing I see about the two of them. But when you get into the context of because the movie does leave it open to the audience to decide, do you think Alan's gay or not? In my opinion, it's neither here nor there of what he is feeling internally.
Right.
It's our choices. Our choices determine it.
Right.
That goes back to even the first movie you're talking about or all of these stories. It's you can feel what you feel internally, and that can be its own world. But what you're going to choose to do in the constructs of society and the institutions that we have or how you're going to conduct your life, those are legitimate choices. What I'm saying is not the whole nature versus nurture thing. That's not what I'm talking about.
Right.
There are people, and Hank, the character who's in that relationship with the guy who cheats a lot, he highlights, I married a woman, and I didn't do that to prove something. I thought I genuinely loved her.
Right.
It was a discovery and a process for him to get to what he actually felt, which is why
literally each character had a different, unique. I think to me it was a different, unique path in how their sexuality was.
They all represent a different
type of gay.
Yes, a very different type of a gay experience.
Gay experience, right?
And that are all that still. And it's funny, 50 years ago, that movie's 50 years old, and those are still the story.
Right.
The self-loather, the super flamboyant, the one that discovered it later, the sexually promiscuous,
the hoe one,
the hoe one, right? Sure, the hoe one. So all of those things are depicted. Alan, the other thing about Alan Fico is that he can leave the party at any fucking time.
Yeah, he doesn't have to be there.
He doesn't have to be there.
He chooses to stay there
or multiple
and that's
times.
What makes him more sus.
It's sus because for me, he had the feelings. He had the gay feelings.
Right.
He didn't leave the party because he was still gathering information. There were still things he was trying to understand. There was still experience.
Because he knew, the second you walk into that apartment, you realize, okay, I'm at a party and all these dudes are gay.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obvious.
Yes.
So the fact that he walks in and even with Michael trying to deter them all from being how they are,
which also goes to Michael's self-loathing, right?
Correct. Yes.
Please, everyone that I've known for a really long time, don't be who you are because this guy that I haven't talked to in a decade is coming over for 15 minutes.
So regardless, he knew, Alan comes in. He knows what he's getting into by coming here. He knows what's happening. Yet he stays. He stays throughout. And then at the end, you've got so the game continues. Each person calls somebody, I believe. Two of them, because I don't want to get too far into every detail of the game, because I don't think that the point here is the game happens, and to me, the main takeaway here is that the build-up is for Michael to get Alan to call.
I mean, you realize that was the whole point of the game.
Yes.
He was willing to humiliate his friends and send them all into a dark
hole,
spiral
Right.
So he could try to expose Alan.
Right. Just so that he can get Alan to admit and call somebody or...
To call another kid from college who said, he said that you guys fucked and, I don't know what else.
Okay.
And then Alan...
I missed that. I guess I must have missed that part of the conversation.
Alan was just very adamantly saying, he lied to you. We never did anything. We were just really close friends. But Alan, throughout the movie, does say sus comments. He's just he's very handsome. He has a handsome face. He has a great body. Right. He says a lot of this stuff. So for me, I think the dude just had the feelings. But in the end, when it's his turn to call someone, and Michael, sweating like a beast, drunk out of his mind, is yelling this weird faux British accent. What do they call it? It's the transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
Telling him to call the college friend. He calls his wife.
Yeah.
And he says, I just want to call you to tell you that I love you, and blah, blah. And then so that he wins the game.
Right.
And then Michael's the one who loses, and he starts sobbing.
Freaking out, yeah.
So I don't think Alan lies. I think he lived his life, and he made his choices. and perhaps to be in that room to see what's become of Michael, this hot mess.
Yeah.
And so many things that he naturally just he is homophobic. And spoiler alert, everyone, you can be gay and homophobic. That's a real thing. And he's just choosing, I don't want any of this.
Yeah.
I want what I already chose. I want what I've established.
Right.
I think he was probably considering leaving his wife, but after the whole night, he's just like,
yeah, I think if anything, Michael pushed them to stay away.
He's
you
like,
know what
never
I mean?
mind.
Like Michael was too abrasive in that whole night. He was just way too aggressive.
Michael's
unnecessary.
way too hateful and way too resentful.
Way too many issues.
But that's such a forgive me for saying, but why I appreciate the movie. That's a real experience, guys. Not everything. The gay life is
not always.
It's not Love, Simon,
and it's not always.
It's not out by Pixar.
Glitter and
It's not like the gay experience has so many nuances, and we still 50 years later don't really talk about them. The fact that the movie taking place entirely in that apartment, yeah, it's a party, but to me the aesthetic emphasizes the concept of the bubble. That it exists, it can exist within the confines of the small corners that they constructed for themselves. Mm-hmm. But when someone comes that pertains like the accepted heterosexual world, of man comes to permeate the bubble, it becomes for Michael all of a sudden this reminder of I am not acceptable.
Right.
So there's Michael is your main character who seems fine at the beginning, then turns to the dark side by the end. But it's so all of them exhibit these dark these really dark elements to the experience that they don't have to be all defining, but they're fucking true, and we should be able to talk about them and to show them. The flamboyant one. That one also hurt when he did his call. All of them. Like you could feel the pain in all of those.
They acted it. All of them acted.
They
so
all did
brilliantly.
it
was a really good job. Even the two guys, the two friends, two of the guys that are there. The one guy that's married and the other guy, they're like kind of roommates.
No, they are in a relationship.
Oh, they're in a
relationship.
What
happened was there's the one that's a mega cheater.
Yeah. The mega cheater and the guy that's married.
That's married, but he's separated, and he's left his wife for him.
Right.
They are
they live
quote
together.
unquote roommates. Yeah, they bone. But the other guy cheats on him religiously.
Constantly, yeah. He's a hoe.
And then
on purpose.
On purpose. And Hank is like, yo, dog, I left my wife for you, and I'd love for you to only be with me.
Right.
But then the mega cheater makes some I'm sorry, I'm not trying to justify cheating, but he makes really good points.
Yeah.
And really approaches it, gay aside, as relationships should be approached.
Yeah.
I'm being 1,000,000% honest with you. You want a 100% monogamous relationship?
Right.
I cannot do that.
Right.
That's not for me.
That's how I roll.
And he's telling him
regardless
he's telling him it's not that I'm gonna go out specifically looking for it.
Right.
But why can't it be the context? Why do we have to live this lie for him? What he perceives as a lie of monogamy. Instead of just being open that it might happen, but I do love you,
right? Because even in the call, he says "I love you" at some point towards the end.
They both do it. Yeah.
So they each call each other, which is a cool scene too, because the one guy goes into the kitchen and then calls the guy that's there in the living room, and they call each other. It's cool.
And even that pisses off Michael because even within the gay context. That's something he still doesn't have or might not ever have.
Right.
That's a dissfunctional ass relationship, but there's love in it.
Right.
And they still have to work.
Michael's in a relationship with that guy, that young guy that he's with, but he doesn't really show that relationship the same way that everybody that you're supposed to.
You mean with who? With Donald?
Yeah.
The guy from the beginning?
Yeah.
I don't think they're in a relationship.
I thought they were. I think
they had a thing, but I don't know if they're necessarily together.
I thought they lived together.
No, the Donald is coming into the city at the beginning of the movie. He left New York.
Okay.
So and then I think his name was Emerson, the really flamboyant one, when he does his call, that to me is actually the most telling one, because when he calls the doctor guy and he tells him that he said he finally asked the doctor, dude, if they could see each other alone. And what he asks him, he doesn't tell him when he was younger, I love you, I want to be with you. His legitimate question was, can you be my friend?
Yeah.
That's the most heartbreaking thing about it, because yes, he was in love with him, but to put it in the context of, can you be my friend? It really exemplifies what we're all looking for, regardless of the level of the relationship. We're all looking to feel seen and heard and connected to someone. And that should be what relationships are based off. Not all of them are. But I think a lot of relationships miss that point. And what he was ultimately looking for was to have that kind of a connection with another person.
Correct.
So I really, watch it. I'm really excited they're going to modernize it or just make a modern, up-to-date version of it.
Yeah. I don't know. I was telling Gab the other day. It's really crude. Like the language in it is not very 2020.
They drop fag like every 5 seconds.
They drop the N-bomb. They drop the F-bomb. They drop a bunch of stuff that doesn't really go right now with 2020.
Right.
But it could be, it's art. So I mean, it is what it is. I don't think that there's a problem with in art if it's something that you're depicting. The use of certain words. I don't think that there should be a limit on that.
Michael's a piece of shit. Don't try to cover up for him.
Yeah. I don't think there should be a limit on that. I mean, just look at Django and the N bombs just dropped 180 times in that movie. But it's that period. It makes sense. It's what's happening in that time that the word is used constantly. So it makes sense. It goes with it. It would be weird if it didn't have this language.
And like,
it wouldn't be authentic.
And like, let's just be real. Sometimes I feel like, look, gay people can be racists.
Yeah. It's all the same. It's all the same bullshit. It's all the same bullshit.
He can be a bigot.
Yeah. So great fucking movie. When the new version of it releases, I will be watching it because it's really good. We'll finish off with Birdcage.
Yeah.
Because it's a comedy. We'll keep it lighthearted here towards the end. Birdcage.
It's just a good old fun movie.
Robin Williams. The other guy.
Come on, man.
Robin Williams.
What the fuck is his name?
The other guy.
Nathan Lane. I always forget his name.
But
I love Nathan Lane too. He's great.
Hank Azaria is in it.
Hank Azaria's in it.
As just a flamboyant
the actress who plays Ally McBeal.
Yeah, Ally McBeal.
Yeah, Ally McBeal's.
So basically,
Calista
if you
Flockhart?
haven't seen Birdcage, please fucking go see Birdcage. It's
fucking Gene Hackman's in it.
Gene Hackman's in it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Star-studded cast. Basically, it's this very Miami
Dude,
gay couple.
Discriminate against Latinos a little bit?
It's Miami.
You couldn't get an actual Latino guy to play the shoeless.
Yes. They could have gotten somebody not for Hank Azaria to play the flamboyant Latino like houseboy that they have.
Who can't wear shoes. Yeah.
Yeah, he can't wear shoes.
Yeah. But so it's basically this gay couple. They have a son, and the son's getting married. But of course, the son is getting married to
the daughter of a conservative
Republican senator who is in the middle of a political race. So he's like looking for something to like give him the edge. He's
also looking to get out because his like running mate was found dead with like an underage hooker or something like that, like a male hooker. So like we have to get him the hell out of here.
Right. So the whole thing is a mess because of course the parents have not met each other and these two kids are getting married. So the whole movie surrounds itself with them meeting, and of course, so in this scenario, Robin Williams is the more masculine of the two.
Yes.
Nathan Lane does his job as like he's like this drag queen superstar in the club, in the Birdcage Club. He's like the star attraction. The star attraction. Like everyone goes there to see him dress up as, I forget the name.
It was
it's like
it's like Skylar. Like
Celine or some shit. Celine or some shit like that. But yeah, so the son and Robin Williams, they kind of have a conversation where they're saying that, okay, just for this one dinner, meeting her parents, we should figure out a way to not include Nathan Lane's character because he's too flamboyant, because they don't like, obviously he doesn't want to show them that they're gay. So they're thinking about getting the son's real mother to come in to come in and play his his wife.
Right. She's the her and Armand, Robin Williams' character, had like a drunken one night stand.
Yeah, Armand, that's what his name. Yeah. So that's how they have the kid,
Bowsley
right? So
is the birth child.
Of course, to throw a wrench in the fucking plot, the mom is stuck. Traffic, shit happens. Can't make it. They're scrambling. What do we do? So Nathan Lane throws on a wig, comes out,
take it one for the team,
a la Miss Doubtfire, and kills it. You know, like the dad of the girl has no idea. It's a hilarious fucking movie.
It leans really hard left, but it also leans really hard right. The way they redecorate
it's the two extremes of each side.
They're Jewish, but they get a giant ass Jesus on the cross.
But that's right, because they're not allowed to be Jewish either. They changed their name from Goldman to Coleman.
Yeah. Oh, right. They can't be Jewish, right? And but there's also these Gothic.
They look like
chairs. Medieval
Vatican chairs.
Goth rock. Kind of just
it's good, man. It's a really good fucking movie. It's honestly just like a feel good time. R.I.P. to Robin Williams because he fucking killed it too.
Yeah, see, that's something that I think about when I see this movie. I hate that I saw it. I actually ended up seeing it after Robin Williams died. So in all those conversations when you have about Robin Williams was hilarious and this and that, never brought this movie up. Right. This is, I think, some great work of his.
Oh, absolutely.
He steals the show. Nathan Lane's amazing in this movie.
Nathan Lane is he gay in real life?
I don't know.
Because if he isn't, he's one of the
go-to gays
portraying a gay character actors.
Yeah, him and Cam from Modern Family killing the game.
I mean, the gay game.
Yeah, they just a really so fucking good. The way he plays the scene, even when you were watching Gab when he picks up his clothes and he's the son's clothes, the motherly really good fucking movie.
It feels like the whole movie. This is the 90s, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Right? Yeah,
90s South Beach.
Yeah.
The plot honestly feels like any kind of more modern day sitcom episode.
Yeah,
it feels like a long sitcom episode to something,
right?
Because the plot is so lighthearted and it's very superficial in terms of it's not trying to go deep with its message. It's very obvious to see what they're doing.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It embraces the gay subject without any kind of heaviness.
Right. And I mean, towards the end, even still at the end, it still teaches you a lesson. The conservative dad at the end, they're all chilling
Because they have to smuggle them out through the drag club because there's paparazzo outside.
Right. So they have to dress up the dad
and
they have to dress up the dad in
drag.
Conservative
dad. This ain't bad.
So it's a whole thing, and it's. I mean, I love it. It's a very, very good movie. It's one of my
hilarious.
favorites.
Nathan Lane is so fucking funny.
Nathan Lane is gay, in fact.
He is gay. Okay.
He is gay. I confirm.
Every time he screamed in that movie, I would jump a little bit because it would come out of nowhere and it would be so shrill.
Yeah.
There's that scene where he's trying to where Robin Williams is trying to teach him how to be masculine and how to walk.
Yeah.
And, he's doing he's wearing wedges and shit. And it's
so good.
It was so fucking perfect. That and the obvious Versace wardrobe.
Oh my god, dude!
Going around, amazing.
I was telling Stacey and Gab because neither of them had seen it, and there's one scene where Robin Williams comes out, I think to talk to his son, and he throws on the Versace shirt, but it matches the fucking pants. It's the black and white,
match.
And I'm like, holy shit! I would wear that entire outfit now. Maybe not as baggy. But the outfit itself, I would rock that immediately.
Do you want to realize that there's some articles there's some clothing styles that it would either register to me as like very gay, like a proud gay man would wear it, but then at the very same time, like a really, really like macho dude could also wear it and pull it off if they had
basically
style.
The Rock.
The Rock
throughout the
There we go.
The Rock
The
in the
Rock,
90s.
The Rock
All he
can
would wear is those
wear
shirts.
if you put like a really gay outfit on someone and put the same outfit on The Rock, I feel like it would be just
pulls
like
it off.
Like swag.
Yeah, I mean, look
style.
at the fucking his famous picture of him rocking the fanny pack and the turtleneck.
You put that on a twink?
You put that on somebody skinny, and they look gay.
I love how you didn't say twink because you feel like you weren't allowed to say twink.
Yeah, I didn't want to say twink.
So,
Yeah.
like,
We're
so you
trying
dodged
to
it.
keep it PG.
I'll do it. If you put that on a twink,
Yeah,
you're like, oh, gay. But if you put it on The Rock in the 90s,
he
it's
looks
like,
cool. He looks
cool.
fucking cool.
Sweet. Hot look.
So yeah, I mean, great movie. Great. All these movies were really fucking good. Please, if you haven't seen any of them, whoever's listening to this shit, watch them all. And continue to support anything LGBTQ, whatever the acronyms are or letters and
Yes. There's something that you can watch now. It just dropped. Speaking of Disney, bringing full circle. We all know that Hulu is a subset of Disney.
Yes.
So that's where they can put things that are less quote unquote family friendly or just more mature.
yes.
So Love Victor, the spin-off show for Love Simon, is
great.
the whole season dropped on Hulu today.
Oh, okay.
On another note to
I
that,
don't think I saw Love, Simon.
you saw Love Simon.
Oh, I did.
We
Yes,
watched
we've
it
seen it
together.
twice together.
We watched it
that's
together.
really-
What?
Yes, you've seen it. Yep.
Yeah, I think we even talked about
Yes,
it.
we did. I think that was on our last Gaypisode. Was Love Simon.
Right. That shit was great.
So-
All right. Well, I'll watch it. I'll watch it
That's
and I'll
great.
see if I can. remember.
I also, but Love Victor is about a Latino.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So
So
it's-
I'm hoping I'll start seeing it tonight, but I'm hoping that it shows the nuances of the growing up the gay experience within the Latino context
Latino family.
and touches on that stuff.
Okay.
So I'm gonna give that a shot today.
Yeah.
Also, like their first trailer was a joke about cum, pretty much. So
Nice.
I'm really curious how this is gonna play out as a teen series.
Cool. Okay. I don't have anything else new. I mean, there's new things, but we've already been here for an hour and 15, so we can
Right.
We'll wrap up, and next week we'll touch on new things. I do want to talk about Insecure.
There's a huge question with Insecure, yeah.
And then we'll what do we have planned for next week? Do we know?
It's somewhere on my calendar. I think it's just a leftover. I feel like one of my notes either said the Matrix trilogy.
Oh, The Matrix.
Or,
Wow.
or it was heist movies. It's one of those two.
Okay, Matrix or Heist. Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, look for that. Who knows if we'll even do one of those because we don't have any
know.
plans.
We might come with a better idea.
We don't plan here. You
We
know,
might
just
forget,
kinda-
and we might not even have an episode next week.
we might not have another episode for another 4 weeks. We don't
You know,
fucking
really, you just really never know if we're ever gonna come back.
We might throw a Batman trilogy on next week.
Oh, there we go.
yeah,
There we
it
go.
is. There it is.
There it is. How, and also, if this is the
Keep it
Gaypisode,
alive.
how could we not bring up the rubber nipples?
And that is how we end it. See you later, guys. Peace.